I mean a lot tuned in now. Oh hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, Episode 7, Madonna The Rusical. And all I have to say is, first off, thank you to every single one of you who tuned in to my birthday live video. Even if you didn't tune in live, the fact that you tuned in at all, I'm just thrilled. I'm just so sorry that it was... Well, I mean, I guess it was fun, but I felt I should have done better. I should have done better, so I'm working on doing better, and I will. I'm going to work on a new song, and we'll have some stuff for you very shortly, right after I film my sewing tutorials. That said, because of the birthday video, a lot of you tipped me on PayPal, and I would like to thank you all because there was quite a few, and I'm so thrilled. I really wasn't planning to do anything for my birthday, and just to even have you all tune in at all, never mind tip me, was just so heartwarming. So I want to thank Christopher Jones, Richard Williams, Audra Adams, Nuri Shaways. Now I'm hoping I'm saying that right, but Nuri is from Berlin. Achtung, baby! So hello to you and thank you very much. Aren't you a sweetheart? John Dwyer, who's a Patreon patron, tipped me as well. Thank you, John. And Cornelia Stenberg. I just want to say, Cornelia, I love that name, Cornelia. That's lovely. Junket Vintage also tipped me. I don't know if that's a group of people or one, but I'm desperate to find out. Darren Coles, Laura Hubbard, Joseph Kotz. Here's to you, traveling bartenders. I don't know, again, if that's a group of people or just one person and that's how they like to be known. But they sound like my kind of people. I'm just saying. I also want to thank Emily Wernier, Elizabeth Scott, Norman McFull, Eric Kaufman, and Daniel Gotchley. Now, if I said your name wrong, I'm so terribly sorry. I have the worst handwriting in the world. It's awful. And I'm bad with names. So this is a fool's errand. Right out of the gate, it's a fool's errand for me. But that doesn't diminish my gratitude more than that. If you are somebody who has even just subscribed to my channel, this is the thing. I am more interested right now in subscriptions than tips and Patreon followers, although I'm thrilled to have you do either. There's links below, you can do that, but I'm really trying to build my subscription base, and here's why. I want to be a judge on Drag Race Canada, but I'm not famous enough for them. Not that they've said that, not that anyone's inferred it, but I know when I look at my numbers and I look at other people's in the world, there are just more people, there are people out there that would bring a bigger audience base to a new show like Drag Race Canada. And I just don't think I'm there yet, but I know I can get there. So if you haven't subscribed, now's the time, I'm just saying. There's a link at the end of this video. All right, that said, there's only one thing left to say. Jorge, drink me! Ooh, what is this? It's very boring. There's no garnish. Oh, we're out of garnish. I'm lucky to have booze in this glass at all. Well, I guess he's not wrong. This is homemade iced tea and whiskey. That's where we've gotten to. Although I have to say, as a proud Canadian, this is Canadian Crown Royal Peach. If you're going to have iced tea, throw a little peach whiskey into it. It's delish. Yep, I wasn't wrong. Of course, I'm not going to be able to keep track with how many I've had because I have no umbrellas, but these drinks so easy, who cares? I'm so serious. All right, so let's get to it. We started this week off by saying goodbye to Aiden Zane. Oh, God bless her. And who else just about threw their drink, if it weren't for the fact that you would have to have left the house and gone and bought more alcohol, so you didn't throw your drink at the TV when Britta started being so supportive and kind toward Aiden when she's not in the room. She's in the room, she rips her a new one. Not in the room, oh, she couldn't love her more. If I could have reached to that TV and slapped her face, I would have done it. I'm so glad Widow called her out on it. I mean, not out loud, but just, you know, in general. I mean, she rolled her eyes so like grandly. I'm surprised nobody heard them squeaky. You know, she just, and I couldn't believe, quite frankly, that they were all so supportive, because they were not supportive while she was there. And this is not how you be supportive. You don't send somebody a lovely send-off when they're not in the room because you know they'll see it. They're watching this show. They want to hear the hateful things you have to say. No. And the other thing is, I feel like on some level, somebody on the crew kind of pulled Britta aside and said, you're going to make people hate you. You have to start talking like this. And reminded her that there's social media to deal with while the show airs. And it just feels like all of a sudden Britta was all about the damage control. And I'm telling you right now, I wasn't there for it. Thank God there were still some unresolved issues from last week's Untucked Lounge. Basically, by that I mean Gigi telling Heidi that her makeup is terrible, which is basically just a polite way of saying, you ugly. But I have to say, I was super impressed with Heidi. She did not take any of Gigi's backpedaling, any of her sugarcoating the reality of the situation. I love that she held up her hand and said, well, you know, I actually wasn't wondering why I was in the bottom. You know, and I have to say, she impresses me at every turn, because some of these queens can be intimidating, period. Especially in a situation where Heidi has already been in the bottom once. For these queens to then judge her, I'm sure it's an uphill battle for her every day that she's there at RuPaul's Drag Race. And I, for one, just want to say, here's to you, Heidi. You're gorgeous. You're hilarious. I love you, baby. Mwah. Seriously. Of course, Heidi wasn't the only one not letting queens backpedal. Widow Von Du was seeing it all. She was watching everybody trying to apologize. I have to say, I really like Widow Von Du. I wish she would be more like that in front of, with the girls directly. But I feel if she were like that one-on-one with them and not just in the confessionals, they would be a little more wary of her. I think by her just sitting there not saying anything, she's flying under a few people's radar. And that may very well work to her favor. I'm just saying, a prediction? I don't know. I'm drunk. I have to say, I was also super happy that Widow said what we're all thinking, which is for these top girls who are picking on the low-hanging fruit like Aiden and Heidi, that they should land in the bottom and get judged as harshly too. It's not a nice thing to say to people, but it's not like wishing that you developed cancer or died or anything. It's saying, I want you to experience what you're putting someone through now. And I admire Widow for saying it out loud. Not a popular statement to make, especially on TV with cameras rolling, but we were all thinking it. And if you weren't, you're lying. The next day in the workroom, Jada Essence Hall tried to blow off the tensions from the previous day by just pretending they weren't there. She is a Southern queen. Fiddle-dee-dee. I'll think about that another day. Or she high. Thank God Ru showed up with this week's Maxi Challenge. Madonna The Unauthorized Rusical. And, well, Jan just about peed her pants. This was her challenge. She couldn't have been more happy about it. She can sing. She can dance. She's a drag queen, so she loves Madonna. A match made in heaven. And I have to say, I was excited for Jan too, because I'm sick and tired of this middle-of-the-road hover that she's been perfecting so far. Seriously. But it's good on the quads. So because this was a Rusical, it involved the girls recording their verse from it so they could lip sync during it. And then they had to also learn choreography for the Rusical with sexy Jamal Sims, which is a double-edged sword, because he's sexy Jamal Sims, and if you look like a fool in front of him, then he's not going to be your sexy Jamal Sims. I'm just saying. Right out of the gate, our Ms. Cox looked like she was nervous, which surprised me a little because this queen's done shows off Broadway. Maybe they're all lip syncing. Maybe she doesn't dance so much. I've not been. She didn't invite me. But I don't know why she was nervous, seriously. While on the other end of the spectrum, Widow Von Du looked thrilled, mostly because she knew that this was a challenge that was going to shake up a few of the queens. Jackie Cox! I'm just saying. So the queens had to portray Madonna at different stages and iconic looks of her career. And they had to do that themselves. There was no winner from a previous challenge doling out parts or anything. These queens had to sit down and do it themselves. And I have to say, I was worried out of the gate, but it seemed to go fairly well. They all looked at everything and then said what they would like to play. And for the most part, there were no challenges. Nobody seemed to want to be doing early Madonna, but this could be because early Madonna was first and opened the show. Now, I have to say, I feel like our Ms. Cox kind of bullied, and I mean this very loosely because she did it in the nicest way possible, but kind of strong-armed or led or connived Jan into doing early Madonna. But I have to say, Jan's only reason for not wanting to do it was because it went first, that role. And she's supposed to be this singer and dancer. If I'm the good singer and dancer, I want to go first. I want you to follow me. I want you to see me kill it. And then I want you to worry about you having to go out there and try and do the same. Seriously, it's like she doesn't want to win this contest. I'm just saying. The other challenge in the role division was for Cone Bra Madonna, the Gautier years, the Blonde Ambition tour, because that seemed to be Gigi. She wanted it. Her hand went up like a Catholic schoolgirl trying to let the nun know she got to pee. You know, just but Britta, she wanted it too. And I'm not surprised that Britta ended up with it because Britta, I don't know. I think she intimidates some people. I think I think some people are afraid that if they kind of get in her way, she might treat them the way she treated Aiden. I don't know. But Gigi folded like a cheap suit. So right away, it was off to the studio to record with Mama Michelle. And the one thing that I have to say impressed me about this whole experience is, you know, I'm about the same age as Miss Michelle. I'm sure she's younger than me. I'm sure she is on paper anyway. But so we have experienced Madonna the same. And we have similar parallel views of that or opinions of it. And it was really impressive to watch her direct the girls, especially the ones that had problems. And I have to say, the ones that had problems surprised me because I didn't expect them to have problems. One of the girls that didn't have any problems right out of the gate was Jan, and she really could sing. She sounded fantastic. My only criticism is she didn't sound like Madonna, like she wasn't trying to do a Madonna voice. She was doing a Jan voice. She was doing Jan in a musical about Madonna, who happened to be wearing an outfit similar to Madonna's early years. And I just want to say, I'm not judging her performance, but I was kind of hoping that she would make it sound a little more nasally like Madonna or something. That's just me. Seriously, she did a good job. Jada Essence Hall was one of those queens that needed Mama Michelle's guiding hand. And in this case, it was helping her guide that hand down the front of her to her crotch because Jada Essence Hall had no sex appeal for Sex Madonna at all. She was supposed to be doing this Justify My Love thing, and she kept giggling and smiling. And I'm so glad that Heidi brought up the fact that she did that. And she considers herself trade of the season of RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, clearly she might look good, but she doesn't seem to know how to do sexy very well, which was great for Heidi because she's sure that makes her trade of the season. Yeah, I see it. She's cute. Our Ms. Cox did... Well, she sucked. It wasn't good, and I have to say, it surprised me. I really, I don't know why, but I think of Jackie Cox as being someone who can sing and someone who can dance because of her career, at least her resume. I mean, even the videos I've seen, she's certainly out there doing stuff live in front of an audience. I mean, seriously, our Miss Cox sucks so bad, I'm starting to doubt that she's even Canadian. Heidi and Widow didn't do too badly, but that's mostly down to the fact that Crystal followed them and she whiz. P.U. If you ever wanted to know what Madonna sounds like singing in a blender, that was it. Oh, poor Crystal. I mean, I'm not judging her because she can't sing, because that's not a crime. But wow. At least she was dedicated. But I'm talking in a married at first sight kind of dedication way. Britta boasting about her degree in musical theater did not bode well. Every time a queen's done that, woof. And I was expecting nothing less from Britta. And I have to say, I was mildly surprised. She didn't sing the best at that time, but it's awkward. It's weird. You're learning a song at the same time as singing it. But she took direction really well, and I like the lower parts in the song because they were very funny. So she, all in all, good for you, Britta. You surprised me. Way to pull it together for a change. Gigi was way too nervous to actually be good, but she wasn't the worst. That said, this was the worst she's ever done in a rehearsal lead up to a main challenge this season, and some of those queens were loving it. Britta! Next up, it was choreography with Jamal Yum Yum Sims, and Widow was chomping at the bit to school all of these girls and how it's to be done. But what happened was, you see, during a split jump in a previous challenge, she cut her knee, busted, I don't know, but she had a bit of a little scab on her knee. It wasn't a big one. I'm not judging. I'm not saying knees are hard. My knees are not my friends. But none of the other girls seemed to be buying it, and none of the other girls seemed to be happy about it. I bet you they were just sorry they didn't come up with a knee thing first. Just Jan was first with the individual choreography, and she killed it. Although she looked really, really bored. She wasn't doing 100%. She was just learning the moves. I don't know. Of course, Britta had to poo all over how good Jan had done by saying that she had gone to a really expensive musical theater school, as if the fact that she spent more money than Britta on her education meant that, of course, Jan would be better than her. And I would just like to say lots of people go to very expensive schools for many, many different things, and most of them suck at it. So it has nothing to do with anything. Usually a more expensive school just has better dorms and a nicer cafeteria. I'm just saying. I was also a little surprised at Britta's comment that Jan thinks she's better than everyone else. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, and it's because Jan has been hovering in the middle of this competition the whole time. She's never said boo. She's never really drawn, much to her own detriment, she's not really drawn a lot of focus, pulled a lot of focus. But at the same time, she doesn't seem to be going into these challenges saying that she's better than anyone. She has said she thought she might have done better in that challenge, or was sorry that she was safe all the time because she wanted to hear some critiques. Things like that, but not like, I'm better than you, how did you? Not exactly what Britta was doing. Now, here's the thing about bullies. They often will accuse people of doing things that they're actually guilty of themselves, whether that other person is really doing it or not. They're often projecting their own behavior onto other people. And so I found that whole comment from Britta rather telling. I mean, all I have to say is the editors really seem to be having a field day this week with Britta's villain edit. I'm just saying. Our Ms. Cox was next, and I just have to say, she had no sex appeal whatsoever. Bless her cotton socks. But it broke my heart a little. I mean, there's another thing that's making me wonder, is she really Canadian? Because she didn't pay any mind to her proud Canadian heritage. Hello, Pamela Anderson? Seriously. Gigi was another girl that wasn't that bad during her choreography, but you could see that she was up in her head, and it really stopped her from just trusting her body to do the next move. But there were moments during her rehearsal where you could see she had it. She was getting it. So I wasn't worried about her. But she wasn't good. Personally, I thought Heidi killed her choreography session. She had sex appeal, she was alluring, she was all the things that a Madonna portrayer needs to be. I'm so serious. If she had been any more sexy, I think Jada Essence Hall would have just handed her the crown for Trade of the Season. I mean, she might have just kicked it to her, maybe not handed. And because we skipped Sherry Pie, we finally watched Britta do her choreography. And even though her Roger Rabbit was Roger Wrong, it didn't look bad. She literally had the movements for her different sections of her choreography. But because she knew she wasn't doing them correctly, she was letting it stall her and get in her way of being more fluid. And again, I just have to say, this is a bit of karma. Here's somebody who keeps talking about how great she is and she should be doing better, and then she doesn't deliver in a rehearsal. Not the first queen in the world who didn't deliver in a rehearsal and then killed it later, but I'm not holding my breath here. I'm just saying. The next day in the workroom, as the girls were getting ready for the Rusical, Britta was really sensitive to the reality that she'd been in the bottom twice already, and that she couldn't afford to land in the bottom a third time. And as the history of RuPaul's Drag Race has proven us, she's not wrong. I'm just saying, I think the only queen who's been in the bottom 3 times and not gone home is Raven. If I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know kindly down below, because I'm old. It's been 12 seasons. They're starting to blur. Just saying. Oh, and this doesn't help. The rest of the queens talked about why Madonna was so inspiring to them. And Heidi was very touching in her reason, because she was really inspired by the charity work that Madonna's done with HIV and AIDS over the years. And I was so touched to hear about Heidi's fabulous gay uncle. And here's another gay uncle. Everyone seemed to have these great gay uncles growing up. And just to hear her talk about him being her favorite, and then starting to become sick, and her being the one to go and get medicine or feed her, or feed her uncle, or whatever needed doing, that Heidi was there for him. And it just was this a very touching story to hear from Heidi, and not surprising. I mean, this is a very compassionate person, I think, Heidi in Closet, and I think she's just so full of love. And I was so happy to hear about that experience, because to be somebody who was bullied and picked on for being that way, but to have someone in their family who's older who is gay and is showing them it does get better, you do grow up, this isn't forever. Very, very impressive. Here's to Heidi and her uncle, seriously. Crystal talked about how close she was with her father, which I have to say is always a mystery to me. I was brought up by a single working mom. So dads are always a mystery. And I'm always so impressed when I hear about men who want to have children or enjoy raising children, or when you hear people talk about how good their dads were, because that's not everybody. And I think that's very, it warms my heart to hear these stories. And particularly Crystal, I mean, another sweetheart of a queen. I mean, so full of love and so giving. And for her to talk about her dad and how supportive her parents are. In fact, they're so supportive, it's why she still lives at home. Most gay kids who do drag get the heck out of there. But nope, she lives there with them, and they pick up props for her at garage sales. Who doesn't love that? Which makes the fact that her father's dealing with Parkinson's even worse. I mean, the hardest thing about Parkinson's is that the person is dying in their body. They're fully aware and everything, but their body is starting to let them down, and they can't sit up or walk or speak or anything. It is one of the worst, I think, worst diseases. It's no disease is good, but that one is particularly cruel. And my heart, definitely, Crystal and her dad, seriously, oh, bless her. So before the queens could get too much up in their feels, it was time for the runway. And there was Ru in a nice little leather dominatrix onesie. I don't know. It was lovely. The wig was a little much. It was a lot. There was a lot there. Just a wall of white curls. It was lovely. Of course, the world's foremost Madonna expert, Michelle Visage, was there to help the judging, as well as Carson Kressley. Joining them on the panel was Winnie Harlow. Now, if you don't remember her, she's a model, but she was a model on America's Next Top Model. And I have to say, I don't remember. She had a lot of issues because of her skin condition. I mean, having the pigment issues, which I love. I think it's so beautiful. But it's hard for some people. And I think that I remember Winnie being a bit bitchy on the show with the other girls. So it was nice to see her in an environment where she wasn't actually that bitchy, or if she was being bitchy, it was totally appropriate. Seriously. And of course, the big get this week on the judging panel was Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I just have to say, what a beautiful person. Here's to you, OAC. Who down with OAC? I'm missing my straw here. First up, it was the Rusical. And I have to say that all in all, it was okay. I enjoyed it. There were I don't know, the surprises were letdowns more than anything. Jan was great. We knew she would be. And it was nice to see her actually do the choreography with some energy. I mean, I know she was rehearsing before, but she had it down. The wig, the look, she looked great. Again, she didn't really sound like Madonna, but that I guess wasn't really the point. But I just wish she had been more, because early Madonna was very Belinda Carlisle, very up in her nose, very chipmunky. And I think that would have clinched it for me. I'm just saying. Our Ms. Cox sucked way less than she did in rehearsal, but she still wasn't great. It was still pretty much a miss, and I think the miss was that our Ms. Cox kept thinking that Like a Virgin was about being a virgin, and it's not. It's about being a dirty old whore who's touched for the very first time. Gigi Goode shocked the hell out of me again. First of all, this look, Unapologetic Madonna, this is the look right after Madonna saw herself in the movie Desperately Seeking Susan. I thought, Jesus, I'm fat. And became a vegan and stopped going out in the sun. So she was very pale. She was very thin and tight. She'd been working out. She had a boy bum and everything. So this look for me is one of my favorite Madonna looks, when she had that short platinum hair. Like, it was just the beginning of the sophistication of Madonna. And Gigi had it down. She looked gorgeous. The wig was right. The makeup was right. The outfit, her skin tone. It was a complete look. And she did another backflip and even did a dismount off of the boys lifting her up. For the editing of this show, she seemed to get the most camera time. And I don't know if that's down to the fact that Jamal gave her the best choreography, or she just executed her choreography the best. It was a good night for Gigi Goode, I'm just saying. Britta was next, and I don't know, I didn't like the outfit on her. Her choreography was rusty. She just didn't sparkle. Certainly not like Madonna does, seriously. Well, any of the issues that Jada Essence Hall was having being sexy while she was recording her verse were no longer an issue when she was performing it. Oh, she was sex on toast. She just oozed her way down the runway, poured herself into that sexy boy's lap. She looked good. I was very impressed for J.E.H. Seriously. Sherry Pie was fabulous. There, I said it. Crystal was another girl that surprised the heck out of me. She was so funny, so animated, so on point with the points in the lyrics of her verse. And she looked spectacular. Seriously. Widow's Cowboy Glam Madonna, I thought, was great. She did a great job. She certainly had some energetic choreography. And I really liked what Heidi did with her bit. She really can dance. I was very impressed. I'm always impressed when I see her dance, seriously. And then it was time for the catwalk. And tonight's runway category was Night of 1,000 Michelles. And this is a very loose interpretation of glamour. I mean, they weren't specifically picking looks Michelle had on RuPaul's Drag Race on the judging panel. These could have been looks that Michelle Visage had at any time. And keep in mind, she does a lot of work over in Europe. So it's a very broad category. There were some highs and there were some lows. I am so serious. First around the corner, of course, was Jan. And she was playing Michelle Visage Glamazonian Airways Realness. And I love this outfit. I love this outfit on Michelle Visage. I like this outfit on all the girls that did the Glamazonian Airways performance. It's just a cute outfit. And Jan rocked it. Her makeup was gorgeous. I loved how she looked. Seriously. Jackie's All-Stars Michelle in the pink top with the corset and the ring and all of it was gorgeous. She looked good. It was a good runway for Jackie, and certainly something she needed after that performance, just saying. Gigi's Michelle visage, I am not aware of. Apparently this is a drawing or a cartoon that's a video of a song that Michelle did. I don't know. I mean, if I'd seen the video, like Mariah Carey's video where the little cartoon, like then I would be like, oh right, I see what they're doing there. But I hadn't seen it, so it was a bit of a mystery to me. And quite frankly, the drawing looked like it could have been 100 other people. That said, Gigi's interpretation of that cartoon into a reality was spectacular. She looked good. And I think it was a great look to portray on a runway of Michelle visages because clearly nobody else did blonde. Britta's season 10 finale dress from Michelle Visage's wardrobe was nice, but it wasn't, I mean, it fit her really good. It looked all right on her, but it wasn't as impressive. I'm not saying that there were better looks, but for some of the looks that Britta's worn on that runway, this was very subdued. I'm just saying. Jada Essence Hall's All-Stars Madonna icon look was all right. She had the necklace. It was a lot of corset, a lot of big black hair. Tick. Seriously. Another standout for me on this runway was Sherry Pie's Kitty Girl Michelle. Mostly because it wasn't like some titty top with a corset. It was a different look again. It's the same reason I like Gigi's. It was just not a typical everyday look from Michelle Visage. And I thought she executed it beautifully. Seriously. Crystal's Lady in Red look was all right, but not a look that I associate with Michelle Visage. So I just really looked at the look as a look itself, and she looked good in it. Seriously. I hated Widow's Starry Night Michelle, or whatever those pants were supposed to be. I'm not saying that it looked bad on Widow if she had been shopping at a Walmart at 2 in the morning. I wouldn't have looked twice, but for a runway, even the shot of Michelle in it, like, I don't know, I think that Widow kind of went through the interwebs and went, oh, I have those pants. Or so, you know what I mean? It just seemed very easy. And it's probably one of the reasons why Widow was just safe and not in the top 3, seriously. I have to say I really liked Heidi's Michelle on the Towie set. Towie is The Only Way is Essex. It's like Jersey Shore in Britain. And I guess she had been on the set or been on the show or been doing something, but she had that bun on her head. And I have to say, the proportions that Heidi went with, I really like, because it's drag. It's got to be bigger. And I like the fact that she could squish it down. It looked like it would, like if you could get air, like that would be a great way to cool your head off. Do you like my Easter hat, by the way? So when the glitter finally settled on the runway, it was Jada Essence Hall, Widow Von Du, and Sherry Pie who were safe. So they frigged off to the Untucked Lounge. The rest of the girls braced themselves for the judgment. First up, of course, was Jan. And the judges loved her. Period. I mean, at that point right there. The judges also loved our Miss Cox's runway look. Her performance in the Rusical, though, not so much. But she didn't let that stop her from gushing over AOC and letting her know how important her work is in America's landscape, especially for new American citizens and people looking for a new start in America. And it was very touching, and I think that they were both moved by the moment. It was a real connection. And I have to say, for our Miss Cox and AOC, Alexandria, God bless them both. I think it's people like that that really do make this world worth living in. Seriously. So any thoughts Jan had of winning this challenge literally had to be thrown out the window when the judges landed on Gigi. They couldn't love her more. They couldn't have loved her more. They loved her performance in the Rusical, how physical it was, how glamorous she looked, how perfect her look was. And they loved her blonde Michelle in a seafoam bikini look on the runway. It was a great night for Gigi, which really was going to make it a sucky night for Jan. Seriously. And can I just have a minute to say barf over that whole nail thing and Gigi saying, how do you wipe with these? First of all, that says to me that at some point Gigi put these nails on and then went, oh no. And then had to figure it out. And then for Michelle to say, well, you wipe with your fingertips, not the nails, so you scoot. I would get a paddle. I would get one of those silicone spatulas and just get in there before I started scooping. I'm just, God bless. This is why I don't wear nails. Well, it's not the only reason. Crystal was another queen that really impressed the judges, and I think it was because they really didn't expect anything from her. But in spite of her having her signature face still, she gave a really good Madonna interpretive performance. Just saying. And although the judges weren't as impressed with Heidi's performance as I was, it still didn't stop Heidi from being her lovely, charming self. Seriously. So when the queens returned to the runway, it was announced that Jan was safe. I could feel her heart stop. She kind of, huh? She, like, you could see her almost like, thank you. She was going to be thank you and leave. But, what? It's just like, she just stood there for a minute too. There was just that whole moment where I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I couldn't, like, either she was just going to demand a recount or pull out a newsie. One of those two things was happening. And I was a little afraid for everyone in that room for that minute. I am sure this is not the last we've heard of this. I am so serious. So who did win? Well, Gigi Good, of course, her third win, and well-deserved. I'm not saying that Gigi shouldn't be winning these challenges. She is really bringing it, and bringing it in a way some of these other queens hadn't really thought of. So well done for you, Gigi. Well done indeed. Which left Britta and Heidi in the bottom. Now, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that it was those two at the bottom, because when you go through the cast and who did well here and who did well there, they were both the weaker of the group, but they didn't suck that bad. Like, it wasn't like they really just pooed all over that stage. They just weren't as good as some of the other girls. And when you've got somebody like Gigi with her third win killing it with this effortless, she just showed up and happened to win kind of flazé-da, I can see this being a bit of a, I don't know, I would start to get a little crazy myself. But there it was. It was Heidi and Britta in the bottom, and, well, the writing was on the wall for Britta. First of all, Heidi's a lip sync assassin. The last lip sync she did, she killed it. This lip sync, I have to say, I wasn't impressed with. It was another lip sync that I really was waiting. There were moments, like Heidi played with her ball, you heard me, and but Britta didn't have any tricks up her sleeve, no fireworks, and Heidi was the only one who really even did a split or anything. But Heidi seemed to be making more of a connection with the judges and being funny with them, or at least they were seeing her humor more. And Britta seemed to be just performing and doing all of her standard moves, which are lovely, but if that's all you have, it's a hard thing to judge when you've seen it twice before already. So in my mind, I was not surprised that Britta went home. Now, am I also happy that she went home? Yeah, because I think she needed that cold splash of karma right in the face after all of this. I think it was clear at the beginning of this episode that there was some backpedaling in her mind over Aiden, and to have her literally be the next one after Aiden to go after the hard time she gave Aiden, I'm glad. I'm not looking forward to Britta being bullied. I hope that anyone that has an issue with her isn't bullying her, because it doesn't help a bully to be a bully. We are in the anti-bully era, which means no bullying. And if somebody's being a bully, it's a learning opportunity for you to educate them and tell them to stop being a bully, not to treat them the same way in a manner that will just perpetuate their actions. Seriously. I'm done being deep. It's a lot of work. So, there's only 8 girls left. Who do you think's the next to go? I can't tell now. I think that Heidi certainly is a queen who's on the bubble for sure. Crystal seems to be on and off that bubble. She's either impressing them or not unimpressing them, but just when she sets her bar a little higher, they expect more from her again. So if she doesn't do that, it puts Crystal in a precarious position. But then you've got someone like the Widow Von Du, who seems to at some point self-sabotage, or she just doesn't seem to reach as high as she thinks she should. And well, everyone's waiting for Gigi to stumble and fall. Will she? Well, all we can do is tune in next week to find out. And then when you're done, you come on back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. Now, don't forget to subscribe to my video. Please help me build my numbers. If I'm not a YouTube sensation, I won't be able to guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race Canada. Or at least that's the story I'm telling people. And also hit that little bell. Hit the one with the brackets around it, because that'll let you know when I release videos. And because we're all in quarantine, I've got a lot of videos that I'm starting to edit right now. So there will be a rash of stuff coming up in the next week or so. Well, I guess that's it. I have nothing more to say. I have merch on Redbubble. You can support me on Patreon. You can tip me on PayPal. All the links are down below. And again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for leaving comments. I love a comment because I love to answer a comment. And until next week, miss me. Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. This homemade iced tea with the peach whiskey.